I used to hate my love for money until I realized this. When I was 18, I started my freshman year of college. My roommate, supremely intelligent, smart cookie, and the whole campus where I went to was a technical college, Georgia Tech. A lot of stereotypes of, folks being nerds and just really into computer science and super smart and, play video games all day, introverts, antisocial, all those things, right, that come with those stereotypes. The point being, your boy, I've always loved money. And being around this type of, bubble of folks, what I didn't realize, it's basically not that nobody love around me loves money, but there's just folks that there's other things that they genuinely care about. And if you just go back to the why of why do I even, love money? Why am I hyper fixated on it at that age and even this age? I used to be very frugal back in the day. And all I knew was, okay, the system, go to school, get a, degree, get a job, and you'll be quote unquote just fine earning six figures plus. Naturally, as time progresses, you realize, okay, this is how the system works. And if you want quote unquote real money, and also the main three pillars, for example, time freedom, location freedom, financial freedom, when you just see those things with a job, what is it? You basically don't really have time freedom, generally speaking. You may have, financial freedom if you love your job and, all those things, right? But if you don't work, it's not like you're getting paid for free. And location freedom, back in the day, especially 5 days in the office, and fast forward 10 years from then to now it's all coming back post, the whole era of everything that happened during the 2020 period. All that said, my love for money really just came from a young age of knowing that, hey, if I don't have X, then folks around me may not have that thing. And it's not about like, fancy things or not. I'm talking like, just, hey, you want to go to this restaurant instead or whatever. It's okay to eat, at home. But, as a kid, those small things are like, oh man, why can't we have it? Or why not? And I didn't, attribute it to discipline of, hey, it's probably just healthier to cook at home and, all those good and reasonable things. When I was younger, it was just like, oh, money could solve everything, just blindly, right? And when you get older, you know the truth. It's, money is a tool where you can use it in any which way. But, if you want to buy relationships like true friendships or true whatever, money is just, it's not the truth unless that other person values it so much. But, it's very transactional. So, all of this said, folks around me, if you're the average of the five people you surround yourself around, then I was around folks that inherently didn't love money anywhere as close as me. Like if anything, I'm an outlier. And I used to think, man, these people around me, they have whatever they love to do. So in this case, coding in general. And for me, like I respect coding. It's like math to me. If I have that opportunity to just deep dive and spend X amount of time for multiple years, you could say, or otherwise, great. But it's about priorities of okay, what skill do you really want to learn? How do you want to spend your time? All these things. So around me, people would think I'm crazy. Like, why does this guy love money? Like, I'm literally making a video about making money. Like, if you think about like that in a different way, the meta here. And I was like, okay, these folks are going to get their degrees, they're going to have great GPA, and at the time, get great jobs, which to me was like the pinnacle of wow, like they're sorted because they can do the thing, not just get the job and just now once you're in it's like so what, right? They kind of knew like not just getting in but like what's next, what's maybe that career progression, maybe hey, let me start a job for a couple of years, let me see how that works and then start my own company. Like those talks were happening back then, and I was not even in the realm, you could say, of thinking about that. The issue was I was basically hyperfixated on this thing called money, where when you have it, there's not much to talk about. It's a tool. Go spend it, use it, what have us. But it's that expression, right? A homeless person, excuse me, a millionaire has, it goes like this. A homeless person has one problem. They're literally, maybe no money, and in their case, no money equals no food, no, shelter, aka they're homeless. And then they say a millionaire has a million problems because, they're trying to manage a bunch of things to make those millions. But this example is very straight to the point. For me, I love money. I just didn't have, let's say, the amount, which if you'd asked me back then, I wouldn't even know. I'd just think, oh, $4 million is a great amount. But if you really ask me, I would not really know, okay, what what do you do with that 4 mil, right? Back then, at least, I would just think, oh, so you're just spending it as you go. Maybe you live 40 years, you spend, whatever that math is, 100,000, just spending it. But that assumes that you have 4 mil like on day one. Anyhow, if you love money, it's not an issue. What I realized eventually was that, okay, so these folks are on a path. And what path basically am I on? And I used to hate it because I used to think, man, who is going to give value to a person who loves money, but that middle step, right? That providing value, as they always say. In other words, what is your skill set you're bringing to the marketplace? What does that value add? Where is the justification for somebody? What basically that's how money works, right? Like somebody has to give it to you in the end of the day. Like no matter which way you look at it, whether it's a government in terms of like free handouts, it's not really free, or people, you're convincing them to, hey guys, whatever, right? I'm not saying begging. I'm saying just, if you're trading something like, hey, buy my whatever product or service, and that's an exchange of value. Fast forward, the internet age and everything of YouTube and, of course, TikTok and Instagram and, basically this financial influencers kind of bubble over time was created. And for me too, I used to digest a lot of financial content on YouTube. Shout out Graham Stephan if you know him. And, he changed my life and this whole niche changed my life. And I realized there's basically multiple ways to make money instead of just, the college route. And I also realized that that path, it's not about getting the job. It's about, keeping it. It's about what's the next step. It's about, hey, if you get a 30-year mortgage, do you want to, let's say, work, 100, 120 hours, whatever that, career or occupation you choose or chose, that could fly with you for X amount of years. But what if you have, family, kids, dogs, all this stuff, right? So I explained it that way because now you're on this treadmill where, JOB, they usually say, stands for just over broke. There's nothing wrong with working a job, but just the economics of it is like the whole system is there to make you, keep on going, not, just the first year you can make so much and then you retire and like all that stuff. Like that's not what's sold in the economy. And that is not how an economy can function, unfortunately, for better or worse. It's the sheer fact. So if you want to make outsized gains, you can, but you really have to have the courage to risk and risk appetite. And if you're young, you may have time on your hands. If you're older, maybe you have money on your hands, like capital. Why a lot of people they end up, oh, I'm buying this fried chicken business, or I'm buying this, hotel on the side of the highway, which could be a great investment. But at that point, you don't have a lot of time maybe to keep trying things. But hopefully, you would have more money to then keep trying things through this means where you're kind of buying the time that would be spent to learn the lessons by trying to craft a business, grow a business, all those things. You can pay for mentorships, courses, what have us to get a little more ahead, but time still needs to be spent fundamentally. But as you spend more time in different areas of just the world, not geographically, but in terms of experience, then I believe that you would have more money making capabilities, all else equal, just because you have a better knowledge of the lay of the land. So I used to hate it that I loved it. But then I realized, oh my goodness, I have basically a skill that maybe it's not, the folks around me at Georgia Tech, but it would be later in life as the years have progressed. I realized, oh, snap, like all these things I was learning, I was doing it for myself. It wasn't like I'm learning about 401k versus IRA and let me go tell the masses, like, sure, I can make videos on that. But for myself, like I was literally like, okay, what is out there? What, not financial products are out there, but I was like, how can you get an edge? And as I kept going and going and going into the rabbit hole, if you try to basically make money from money, there is a way. It's not easy or hard. It's just, how you want to do it, right? So whether that's, and again, I say this because it's worked for me. A lot of people, I get it. They're skeptical or otherwise, but when it comes to day trading, whether it's the crypto market, it's the stock market, whether it's dividend growth investing, where dividends are just, given back to the shareholders and by companies that are not innovating because they just have excess cash flow on the balance sheet. So, that's not a real way to, retire basically, or be financially independent, retire early, known as the FIRE movement in the long term. All of that, there's a million different things, right? Like you could say, hey, I'm just, buying land and flipping it or developing it a little and trying to make money. And in the end, it's kind of like money is making money. Like I don't disagree. And in the end, real estate stocks, those are the two things backed by the US government and all those things. So as I realized later on, okay, Here's the big, you know, intersection point of all of this. If you spend your time for money, you'll always spend time for money. Just if that's just how it is, right? You're trading time for money like an hourly job, salary, what happens. Flip side, you're basically making money from money. So a lot of people in the, compounding interest, if you invest in the S&P 500 and then after X amount of years, like you'll really see the compounding gains. And each and every year it could be 100,000, it could be $1 million of your portfolio increasing year over year. And it is doable. I'm not saying no, but I'm also saying like you either need capital up front or those contributions, as you're spending time for money, investing properly, God forbid any health incidents or reasons you need to like, take out money or need cash quick. But all that said, there's a long path and then there's the shorter path. And the shorter path, there's a beautiful book, The Millionaire Fastlane by MJ DeMarco. He basically says in his video that okay, hey, in his book that there's the slow lane, the I guess the normal lane, and then the fast lane. So slow lane is, let's say you're working at just minimum wage. You're really slowly gonna get there, like, or really never in today's economy. But let's just say that's a slow lane. So you'll get somewhere, but it's a slow lane. So eventually you'll get somewhere. But you know that pace is that pace. Let's say the middle, normal lane or whatever is getting a, W2 job. Maybe it's 30, 40, 50, 60, six figures, whatever, right? Cool. That's, let's say, standard. And Fastlane is going to be, business, So the MJ DeMarco, my understanding is I think he had the domain limos.com back in the day before Uber was a thing. And so, that was his, thing. And from there, he's kind of just kept on going. So I realized that loving money equals loving anything. Basically, you figure out like what is the history of money? How does money work? How can we get more of it? Obviously, but it's not just about fixating on okay, money, making money, money this, money that. Like money is a tool. So who are the people using the tool? Whether they're gold, like folks in the gold rush who were shoveling for gold, the people who were looking for gold, panning for it, weren't necessarily the people that became the wealthiest. It's the inverse. The inverse equals the guy selling the shovel. And when you realize, like, okay, so even if you basically promise people, and this is where like it becomes like ethical, like I'm not cool with it, but if you sell people the dream of, how to make money quick, fast, you can make money like me too, all these type of things, right? Then what happens? What happens is, yeah, you can be a little snake oil salesman, scam artist of, hey, like, basically multi-level marketing, right? Pyramid schemes, all of that is all kind of interweaved into the promise of making more, making money. So people who love money, who don't know better, could, fall into these type of traps. So I realized that okay, after I saw all of this lay of the land, okay, the negative side, the scam artist side, the doing it the normal way, okay, doing it in a little more riskier way, but you just need more bullets to shoot at target, and all else equal, as you learn more about the market and how market works, fundamental analysis, technical analysis, you just need basically cash on hand to take those calculated quote unquote bets or risks. But once you know what you're doing, again, it's not guaranteed, and day trading is like one of those things where you can spend all your time and still have nothing to show for it at the end. It's crazy. So, all of this to say, I used to hate my love for money because it was all just connected to who you're around. But if you're on Wall Street, if you really think about it just for a quick second, if you love money, chances are there's somebody next to you in your vicinity that loves it more than you. Like, if you really digest that, it's insane. So, for anybody who's thinking, hey, I love money and I don't have X, or I love money and I have so much of it, at that point, maybe you don't need to love it that much because you have it in abundance. And it's not like when something's abundant, you love it less. It's great. Like, I love it when it's a sunny day. And right now, I'm recording this in the morning where the sun's not even, risen yet. So the point is, it's okay if you love money, because coming from someone who loves it, and I'll challenge this, I probably love it more than you. The point is that I really think it's not a problem. It's a solution oriented kind of mindset of how in the freaking world can I, make this happen? And then you realize, okay, so the marketplace sells, basically you get money for a skill set, but that's not the only way. And that's what my challenge here is to all of us is, if you want to make money, you can, but understand how you want to make it, and then agree with yourself. Like, are you holding yourself back? Are you, taking, overextending yourself? And it is what it is. So with that, thanks for coming to the end. Subscribe, all the good things. See you in the next one. Peace.